President Barrow renewed his commitment to improve the lives of Gambians as he launches his National People's Party. South African health workers to receive forged batch of COVID-19 doses. And in Nigeria, authorities are hopeful of an economic growth despite COVID-19. Well, these and more stories on your way in this edition of The World Today. Hello, you are watching the World Today News Bulletin on Africa TV. Many thanks for joining us. I am Amadou Kante, and now the news in detail. And we begin with the presidency, because the National People's Party, established in December 2019, was inaugurated by President Adama Barrow and his supporters at a ceremony held over the weekend at the Independence Stadium. Barrow said his party is out to improve the lives of Gambians, saying NPP represents the present and the future. Desise has more details of that in this report.
President Adama Barrow on Saturday joined his National People's Party supporters for the launching of his party at the Independence Stadium in Barrow, after it was formally registered with the Independent Electoral Commission in December 2019. The party's launching attracted thousands of NPP supporters, leaving many worried as to whether the government is serious in its handling of the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. Speaking at the launching ceremony, President Adama Barrow unveiled the agenda and manifesto of the NPP, saying his party is here to sustain space for popular participation in development in the country.
A comprehensive manifesto has been developed. This manifesto, which is now available, is the result of an in-depth search for options and possibilities that meaningful change can bring about in the country. In it, we offer alternatives to rescue the Gambian citizens whose talents and potential have either been wasted, untapped, or ruthlessly exploited for decades.
The NPP leader said his party's vision is to build a nation that all citizens can proudly call home. Barrow also said the National People's Party government will strengthen and support the Ministry of Women and Children Affairs with the objective of promoting the rights of women and children in the Gambia.
The women of the Gambia are part of the political and economic vanguard of the nation. They constitute a bigger percent of the Gambian population than their male compatriots and contribute very significantly towards nation building. In spite of this, they are grossly disadvantaged in Gambian society. Their literacy levels, leadership roles, participation in decision-making and economic circumstances fall far below average in comparison to their male counterparts. In view of all this, the NPP will prioritize policy decisions to alleviate their suffering.
President Barrow was backed by 7 political parties to face former President Yahya Jammeh during the December 2016 presidential election. Barrow was elected to serve for 3 years as transitional leader, but later opted for 5 years, which sparked political tension in the country. For iAfrica News, I am Desise.
President Barrow launched his National People's Party on Saturday. And from the report by Desise, next to Nigeria, because Nigerian authorities are hopeful that the country's economy will improve despite the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The West African state is in recession and battling against the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, leaving many sectors of the economy in a bleak situation. However, oil is expected to play a significant role in the country's quest to resuscitate its economy. Experts say. Let's have more details of that in this report.
If current trends are anything to go by, the horizon doesn't look bright for Africa's biggest economy. Nigeria is in a recession and battling a second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. Inflation is at a 3-year high of 15.8%. The local currency is still far from stable, while forex still remains scarce. The country's external account is weak and government's revenues are depleting. Despite the seeming grim picture, experts and managers of the economy are optimistic things will turn around.
The medium-term outlook for both the domestic and global economies continue to show improved prospects of recovery, supported by the recent moderate uptick in crude prices and increased optimism over the procurement and distribution of COVID-19 vaccines. Available data and forecasts for key macroeconomic variables for the Nigerian economy suggest further improvement in output growth in the first quarter of 2021.
Experts say oil still remains very crucial to Nigeria's recovery and growth. Global oil prices have been stable for quite some time now, and despite OPEC production cuts, the country is compensating for its own share of the cuts with condensate.
This economy requires massive amounts of investment. We will achieve that investment if we are able to get macroeconomic stability. We need a set of policies that are internally coherent and consistent, which enable us to bring down inflation and accelerate growth.
Inflation is indeed a big headache for Nigeria. The gap between inflation and interest rate has continued to widen. Experts believe closing that gap is a priority, and the country's central bank says it is committed to doing so.
We will continue our price and monetary stability mandate, but that must be conducive to growth, because you need to see positive growth in our economy as well as inflation. They must come together. We'll be looking aggressively at what can we do to put in place measures that will stimulate consumer spending, that will ultimately also lead to more facilities for manufacturing companies to agri companies, so that this will help to create employment, stimulate manufacturing output, and positively impact on our GDP.
The central bank has been injecting massive funds into the economy to mitigate the impact of the pandemic on the country. It so far disbursed 2 trillion naira as stimulus to keep the economy running, and it says it is willing to spend more to ensure Nigeria exits recession as soon as the end of the current quarter.
2021 promises to be a better year than 2020. The challenges that we face at the macro level will continue to evolve. The challenges that businesses will face will also continue to evolve. But I am clear in my mind that there are significant opportunities that corporates can and must respond to if they are going to grow.
The country appears to be on the track to recovery, but growth will be a very slow process.
From the report there in Abuja, Nigeria, next to South Africa. Now, South African frontline health workers who received the first phase of the COVID-19 vaccine doses after it arrived in the country. Authorities are devising means to distribute the vaccines in different parts of the country, as some people, including civil society organizations, raised concern for equity in distribution. But the government has instituted a ministerial committee to coordinate the distribution process. Here are more details of that in this report.
While the vaccine arrives in the country at the beginning of February, it's not going to be immediately distributed.
After the arrival of the vaccine, they will undergo some technical processes of quarantine, which is specified in the law, quality assurance, reconciliation, how many vials are there, how many are broken, how many needs to be returned back, and all of those issues. These are all necessary for the safe distribution of the vaccine. These processes will take a minimum of 10 days and a maximum of 14 days to complete, upon which we will then be ready to distribute the vaccines to all the provinces.
The logistics around the vaccine are complex and require a multi-dimensional approach.
We will be using a hub and spoke model for the supply and distribution, so to keep most of the stock in one central point where there is good electricity supply and good security, and from there move out into a district, into various points. where the vaccination program would happen.
A software program has been developed known as an electronic vaccination data system to manage the people registering and receiving the vaccine. There's a second aspect to the system.
So the system has been designed to link up with a stock management system. So as vaccines are being administered, it will be recorded, and then there's a link with the stock management system at the facility as well as the stock distribution from the distribution side. So it's an integrated system.
One of the concerns raised by civil society and analysts is corruption, and the government has taken heed.
The issue of corruption, we have a number of work streams in the Interministerial Committee, and we've asked each one of them to look into the risks so that we can identify the risk and deal with the issues early and prevent corruption. We have also worked with the Treasury to reduce the level of the chain procurement chain process to make sure that we don't have too many people involved in the purchasing of the vaccines.
The first phase of the rollout is going to be a test run for what happens in phases 2 and 3 when 60% of the population then gets inoculated. Everyone's watching very closely, specifically when it comes to security and when it comes to corruption.
South African authorities working out on modalities to distribute COVID-19 vaccines in the country. And from the report, we come back up. Now, President Barrow on Sunday presided over the official opening of the legal year 2021, an event that aimed to promote the rule of law. Justice Hassan B. Jallo, or Chief Justice Hassan B. Jallo, said the objective of such an occasion is to evaluate the machinery of justice and reflect on its challenges and dialogue on the way forward. Fatma Kasim tells us more of that in this report.
Justice Hassan B. Jallo, the Chief Justice of the Republic of the Gambia, said this year's annual event is of special significance as it coincides with the launch of the 5-year Judicial Strategy Plan, GSP 2021 to 2025. Justice Jallo said the Judicial Strategy Plan was adopted and validated last year, and it is consolidated on the blueprint of judicial independence and rule of law.
Crafted in the context of the #1 priority of the National Development Plan, of restoring and consolidating good governance, the strategic plan provides a framework, a roadmap, and an action plan for the many things that remain to be done and many things that need to be done in order to promote our vision of the judiciary as an independent, effective, and efficient justice system for upholding the rule of law. A system promoting its mission to ensure a fair, impartial, and timely delivery of quality justice. The strategic plan that we launched today clearly identifies its vision. It identifies the mission of the institution.
President Barrow said his government acknowledges administering justice in an open, free, and democratic society such as the Gambia. He added that his government is fully committed to protecting the independence of the judiciary to sustain a functional legal system. Barrow said under his leadership, there is confidence in the justice.
To sustain a functional legal system, the security of tenure, and the separation of the organs of state through the principle of non-interference, are guaranteed under my leadership. This should restore and maintain confidence in the Gambia's justice system. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in Gambian history, the judiciary is implementing a strategic plan for the period 2021-2025. In order to deliver justice without fear or favor, honestly, consistently, and devotedly in the public interest. This reassurance complements my New Year's message, in which I call on all personnel of institutions and disciplines across all sectors to adopt quality performance and quality results as their mantra.
Meanwhile, Honorable Dr. Jallo, the Minister of Justice, said his ministry plans to register intellectual properties to enable owners to have rights over them with the commencement of the implementation process of the Gambia Intellectual Policy 2018-2023.
This process is being undertaken by the National Intellectual Property Council under the auspices of the Ministry of Justice. Several activities are earmarked to take place, such as the engagement of the PR firm to create intellectual property awareness, acceding to relevant intellectual property agreements, IP office automation, capacity building for IP office staff, among others. Moreover, the draft Intellectual Property Bill 2020 has been validated by stakeholders. This bill is progressive and contains important international provisions that will make the Gambia an example as far as standard intellectual property laws are concerned. Additionally, the Gambia has acceded to the African Regional Intellectual Property Organization Protocol on the registration of trademark, otherwise known as the Banjul Protocol. This protocol was adopted in Banjul in 1993, hence the name Banjul. This accession recently is expected to increase our revenue base and foreign exchange earnings. With regards to the registration of deeds, the first phase of registration system is completed. The office is now able to electronically register and store all instruments in a more efficient and less time-consuming manner.
The Chief Justice further said it is crucial to remember that investment in justice has a social and economic dividends. He said an investment in justice is an investment in the rule of law and democracy, peace, progress, and development. For iAfrica News, I am Fatmata Kasim.
And from the report there by Fatmata Kasim, we will now take a break and come back shortly with the remaining update stories. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
For the first time in the Gambia, your favorite GSM operator, Africell, is the first and only GSM operator to launch a brand new technology called the eSIM. The eSIM simply means you can use your phone without a SIM card. Do you have an iPhone 11, any of the iPhone X series, a Google Pixel 3, or any new phone that supports the e-technology? Then walk into any Africell customer care center and activate your eSIM today. With your virtual Africell SIM, you can use more than one number without having a physical SIM card in your phone. Enjoy this brand new technology for the first time in the Gambia, brought to you by Africell. eSIM, your phone without a SIM card. For more information, please call 111. Where Africell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Welcome back, and you are watching the World Today News Bulletin on Africa TV. And now to the rest of the stories. Now, DR Congo's Prime Minister has resigned from the government a few days after he was voted out by the members of the National Assembly. The parliamentarians accused the former Prime Minister of incompetence and other failures for his removal. The current political climate in the Central African country has left many worried, including the United Nations, of the situation in the country. Here are more details of that in this report.
The DRC Prime Minister Sylvester Ilunkamba tendered in his resignation to President Felix Tshisekedi on Friday. His resignation came 2 days after 367 MPs voted to remove him from office. The MPs accused the Premier of incompetence and a series of other failures. His ouster is a major victory for President Tshisekedi, who has been pushing to get a majority in government.
The President had a Prime Minister with whom he could not collaborate. So he will now proceed and appoint somebody who will meet the kind of expectations that he has in terms of that collaboration that should exist between the Prime Minister and the President. So I think it will make governance a little bit easier for this President.
Supporters of President Tshisekedi believe the Prime Minister's resignation will enable him to transform the country.
It's truly known that he has a new vision. He has a new plan for eradicating the instability in the East. He's got a new plan. He's got new plans for the economy. Everything he's come up with is totally different than what we've had for so many years. So I think we should give him a chance and we'll see the result.
President Tshisekedi signed a power-sharing deal with his predecessor Joseph Kabila in 2019 after he failed to get a majority in parliament. But the two leaders had several disagreements over the governance of the country that led the president to end their coalition government. The DRC president now has a majority in parliament after convincing MPs who are allied to Joseph Kabila to cross to his camp. But some political analysts doubt whether the new leaders will really help improve the people's livelihood.
Those who are crossing from one side to the other are the same predators, people who brought this country down, who are now moving to the side that claims to come repair the country. How are we going to repair the country with the same folks who brought it down? And that is the key challenge that this regime will now have, how to change the mentality of this gathering of sheep and wolves, and everybody is together.
The UN recently warned that the political developments in the DRC could slide the country into conflict. The DRC Prime Minister is the latest victim of a power struggle between President Tshisekedi and former President Joseph Kabila. Former Speaker Janine Mabunda was the first. She was removed from office last December by legislators allied to President Tshisekedi. Their removal will enable the president to get a majority in the executive and the legislature under his new political outfit known as the Sacred Union.
And from the report there from DR Congo on the country's political situation, we come back home, and finally, in today's edition, we report on the ongoing public hearings of the TRRC. Abdoulaye Kujabi, former Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, on Monday told the Truth Commission that ex-President Jammeh enjoys seeing people in pain and suffering. Kujabi said Jammeh appointed people not because of their qualification, but because they were close to him. Desise has more details of his testimony in this report.
NIA during Jammeh's regime was known for torture, enforced disappearances, and fabrication of evidence from the detainees. Witnesses who testified before the Third Commission said Jammeh himself ordered the torture of most detainees at the NIA. Abdoulaye Kujabi, a brother and close relative to the then president, described Jammeh's character as someone who enjoyed torturing others.
He can be wicked. Yes, it's true. He enjoys putting people in difficult situations, untenable situations, be it pain or suffering.
Aka kontanda nyoka se wakani useole kaje na moje mulbe dimo kono mulbe bataren wakani useondile.
Abdoulaye Kujabi, former Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, said when he went to the NIA at first, there was no position like the Director General or the Deputy Director. The witness appearing before the Third Commission accepted the fact that he occupied the Director General position, despite the fact that he never gained any qualifications to hold such a post.
Yes, it requires highly intelligent people. You would agree with me?
Yes, but sometimes it's the dedication.
Just answer the question. Yes. It is a yes or a no.
Yes.
And you would agree with me that it also requires people of very high academic qualifications, very high academic achievements. And it's quite obvious that you did not have any such attributes.
Yes.
And in fact, you are related to Yaya Jammeh, weren't you?
Yes, I'm related to him.
Abdoulaye Kujabi was born in Dobong, Fonyi Kansala district on the 31st of July 1959. Kujabi joined the NIA in August 1994 and did the service training for 3 months, after which he became the Deputy Director General. Kujabi was arrested in April 2006 in connection to the March 21, 2006 coup plot. For iAfrica News, I am Desise.
Abdoulaye Kujabi there, former NIA director, who appeared before the commission earlier on today, and we will bring you more details of his testimony in our subsequent news editions. But for now, though, this is all how much we got time for today, and many thanks for the pleasure of your company. For more details on these stories and others, as always, you can visit on our website on africa.tv. Once again, thanks for watching, and bye for now.